Hi and welcome to my channel. On this channel I'm going to show you exactly how I use software called Go High Level to generate $30,000 recurring revenue. That's not all profit, but I'm now actually able to pay myself more than I ever earned in my corporate job, and I'm working for myself. I get to choose what hours I work. I don't necessarily work less, to be honest. A lot of the times I work more hours, but I enjoy it a lot more. It's definitely not easier than a corporate role, but you know, it's another option. And I think there's some people out there that might prefer this option. And you know, if you want to work in corporate and you're enjoying it, then you know, hats off to you, and kind of I wish you the best. But I think there's a lot of people out there who feel like there's something else out there for them, and it's, you know, I kind of was never taught about that other option. I didn't grow up in a super wealthy family. We weren't, you know, business owners in my family, so I kind of never really thought about owning a business as my option. So I think by having this channel, I'll be able to inspire a lot of people to give it a shot. You don't need to quit your job and then start your business. I actually started my first business whilst I was still working in corporate. So just to kind of show you, this is, you know, live in Go High Level. So that's, you know, not a screenshot or anything. That's actually how much recurring revenue is coming into the business. And yeah, I do most of the work myself. I get to work with small businesses, and I really, really love that. I'm a big supporter of small business. I feel like we're in a world where large corporations are taking over, and you know, growing up, even just thinking about all the, you know, corner stores and the groceries, you know, the fruit and veg shops that there were, and a lot of that has disappeared and been just kind of taken over by, you know, corporations or larger businesses. So I really, really love what I do, and I hope I can inspire some people to make a change in their life if that's what they want to do. So I'm going to start off by kind of telling you a little bit about me. So I spent over 15 years in corporate and marketing sales, a few different jobs over that time. I worked with multi-million and even multi-billion dollar businesses, including government and things like that, on their marketing and sales strategies. I think it was 2017, I started my first kind of side hustle whilst I was still working in corporate. I still own it. It's an e-commerce business, and it's generated now over $1 million in sales. Again, not profit. It's not like I have $1 million just sitting there. But running that business is, you know, I actually taught myself to do absolutely everything from creating content, making my website, you know, video content, you know, running ads, how to import things, doing my taxes, all that kind of stuff. Like I just taught myself everything just watching YouTube videos. So I'm actually really excited to be able to give back to that community, because you know, information used to be really hard to come by, but now there's just so many things you can access on YouTube. So this is kind of my version of that. So yeah, I'm actually really excited to be doing this. In running that e-commerce business, I got to a certain point and I thought, all right, well, I've been running all the ads myself. It's probably time to hand it over to an agency who can do a better job than me and kind of take the sales to the next level. And I got a referral from a friend who's, you know, still running a really successful business, and said, hey, use my agency. I had a chat with this guy. He sold me the dream. And then shortly after signing on, I got handed over, and it was pretty clear to me that kind of he handed everything off to, you know, offshore, which there's nothing wrong with. But it didn't work very well for me. And after a month, sales kind of were in a massive decline. So I decided to part ways. I thought, okay, I'm going to look for another agency myself. I found another one. It was the exact same thing. It was like, man, these guys are just literally handing everything offshore, and my performance kept dropping. And I took back over, and, you know, performance improved, and I thought, man, I could do this myself. So, you know, I opened my own agency, and, you know, since then I've had a huge success. I've worked with over 100 small businesses during, I think, 3 or 4 years I've had my agency now. And I use Go High Level to do pretty much everything. These strategies that you can implement using Go High Level are, you can create this entire ecosystem for a small business that in the past only big businesses, or if you had a huge amount of capital, you could build this ecosystem to generate leads and then have all these touch points with those leads to encourage them to take a certain action that that business wants them to take. And Go High Level can allow you to do that. So what you're going to learn on this channel, I'm a big advocate for improving yourself mentally, physically, and emotionally. And, I've had a huge journey to get to this point. I am the best I've ever been mentally, physically, and emotionally. And I'd actually kind of just like to share how I got to that point. I'm going to show you how you can start a side hustle whilst you're still working a 9-to-5 job. I know that a lot of people are in situations where you can't just leave your job, and I wouldn't recommend that, to be honest. I would recommend taking time out, allocating time. You have to make time for your side hustle. And I'm actually going to show you how you can use Go High Level to do that. And then eventually you can get to a certain point where that side hustle can actually make you more than what you're making in your current role. And I think you can actually make quite a bit more doing this than what you can in just like a standard role. I'm sure there's a lot of people who are making significantly more, and that's all good. And there's a lot of people who really, really like their jobs. And I'm not here to shit on having a job. It just wasn't for me. Anyone who's ever managed this, if there's anyone watching this who's managed me before or worked with me before, you'll know that I was tough work in there, and I was just never meant to be there. So this was always, I think, what I was meant to do. I just didn't know about it. And so I kind of wish I had have learnt earlier. And so, I hope that there's some people that end up watching this who are inspired and end up, taking that other path and changing their lives for the better. So I actually used to love the corporate job that I had. This is how it started. I was winning awards. I was making a lot of money, especially for my age. Like, I think I was making, like 150 grand a year, and I was like, I don't know, 27 or 26 or something like that, which I don't know, maybe to some people that doesn't sound like a lot, but back then, I'm 36 years old now. That was a lot of money to me. And, I had a corporate credit card. I was kind of the man. Like, it felt awesome. I could take people out to breakfast, lunch, dinner. We could go on trips interstate. And it was heaps of fun to start out with. And then it got to a certain point and I was like, all right, this is pretty full on. Like, you're doing a lot of work outside of your work hours. And yes, you do develop relationships with your clients, and they do become your friends. Some of my close friends, some of my closest friends are, former clients of mine. But it really did feel a lot of the time like you were putting on this show, and it's hard to continue that show on quarter after quarter after year after year. And you're chasing these like seemingly impossible targets. And there's just, it was pretty full on. And I just started to drink way too much and wasn't sleeping very well. And then I would try to overcompensate by then training. I was overtraining, and I didn't think I was training in the right way. I mean, I definitely learned that over time, that I was not training in the right way. I was eating poorly, even though I would think I was eating really well at the time. And so, that all built up over months, years, to a point where I was at work after having a huge night with work the night before, drinking, drugs, and all that kind of stuff. And I came into the office and I was working on this huge deal. It was like a multi-million-dollar deal. And I was on the phone to the client and they were talking, but I couldn't hear what they were saying. And I was like, what's going on? And then my boss was like, man, are you all right? You don't look so good. And I was like, I couldn't actually speak. I was like, and then he's like, let's go outside. And we went outside, and then it kind of felt like when, I don't know if anyone knows Lord of the Rings, when Frodo puts the ring on, it's like whoosh, 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 like just, and then I started to black out and I collapsed onto the floor, and then I kind of felt like this intense like pressure on my chest and like a pain in my chest, and I was like thinking in my head, you're having a heart attack, you're dying. And I remember thinking, this is it? This is how I die at work, you fucking loser. Like I remember thinking that. Anyway, so then the ambulance comes and the paramedics are like, you're all good, your heart's fine. And they're like, so you pretty stressed at the moment? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, you've had a panic attack. Like, do you have anxiety? I'm like, what the fuck do you mean anxiety? Like, what? And that kind of like started the beginning of my journey into discovering my mental health. That I was actually in really poor mental health. I was in a really poor emotional state, and my physical health was horrendous. And kind of how it ended was I was on Valium, I was taking antidepressants, I had definitely had an alcohol addiction, and that kind of like culminated in suicidal thoughts. I ended up calling Lifeline and speaking to some friends about that, and it was really bad. It was really, really bad, and I think there's probably some people who resonate with that, and it was really hard because by all standard metrics, I had a really successful life, but I felt like shit. And I always felt like just different, you know, like I was just always a problem child at school, at uni, at work. Like, why Daniel's got so much potential? Why won't he just do what he's told? And yeah, I was like, why the fuck can't I just do what I'm told? Why can't I just be like everybody else? And why can't I just like my job? And why can't I just enjoy my life? And I kind of like, you know, quit corporate, went back in, and I was like in and out, and I was just didn't know what to do. Until like I just started to go on YouTube, and you know, I kind of had this urge to go and start my business. And things have completely turned around for me now. You know, like taking medications, like whatever works for anybody, right? What I understand now for me is that these can be used to change your life. They can be, I think. I mean, that's kind of what I think now is if you're in a position and you need to take antidepressants, I think my personal opinion, and it's like whatever anyone else wants to do is up to them, but I think that your goal should be to get off of them. And I kind of never really thought of it like that. And yeah, I had personally a lot of health issues using them and then coming off of them. Which was really difficult for me. But yeah, so I mean, over the next few episodes, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about how I did that, a little bit more about how I started my businesses. And yeah, like what I know now is that not everyone's meant to follow that same path. Bit dramatic here with the Matrix reference, but it's actually okay if you think differently. And there is definitely another option. And I'm here to show you what that option is. I didn't grow up in a family of business owners or anything like that. I'm just a regular ass guy who's changed his life for the better. And I would absolutely love it if there's even just one single person who watches this and changes their life for the better, because it actually has an awesome halo effect. You'll change the lives of the people around you. You'll change the lives of your children and future generations if you can improve your life in any way to make yourself happier. So yeah, there's going to be a lot coming. Even if no one watches this, I'm enjoying making it. So stay tuned and hit like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode.